another episode of Journey with Michael and Ryan, and this week part 2 of our 4-part series of talking about the 4 different states of being that we run through in our state change program. And today is, Ryan,
Mental state.
How's your mental state today?
I'm a little tired, a little jaded. Coming to the end of the year, I can definitely feel it. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
Spent the last 2 days just chilling. Yesterday just relaxing. Spent the day at the beach, just trying to not have any input. So yeah, feeling lethargic.
Yeah. You see it in your eyes. We're just limping across the finish line, man, toward the end of this year.
It's so funny though, because it's such a funny thing. Because someone said it to me the other day. There's so much relevance to the end of the year, and it's like, is it me or is it like a collective can't be fucked? You know what I mean? Because everyone's like, ugh, God, I just can't wait till the end of the year. It's like such an interesting thing because it's like it's exactly the same energy output. Nothing really changes, and there's no relevance to it. On January 1st, it doesn't change anything. It's just the Gregorian calendar. So it's a funny thing. It's contemplating it.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think I talked about it the other day. Was I talking to you? Or was it on here? I can't remember. But it was like jumping into the energy of the thing that's there and not being shamed by it. It's like, new year, you, me, January 1st, you want to start fresh. Like, Like, you're right. It's like it's a collective cyclic nature of, all right, I get to rest, or I get to, it's
I get 2 weeks break from my colleagues.
Yeah, it's a disconnect, I guess. And I think more and more now it's probably more and more prevalent because you don't actually, we don't have to be somewhere for, especially those days over Christmas and New Year's where it's kind of like that time warp. We don't have to be anywhere. It kind of just lets people's nervous systems and mental state just relax a little bit.
I suppose.
It's good, man.
Mental state. So what do we talk about in the state change program, brother?
So we talk about actually just moving in and out of the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous systems. We move into like taking the beta breath more into your daily aptitude of moving out of your mind and more into your body, so you're not so addicted to what we think who we are through our thoughts. We get into the cold shower, we get into or ice therapy if you want to take it a little further, and then we just talk about the prevalence of community and gathering, and just we touch on as well how to receive a conversation when someone's saying, hey, I'm not feeling so good, or my mind's a bit furked, what's going on? So we just take everyone through the aspect of the mental aptitude, which is, it's kind of like the start and the end of the health journey, right? Because your thoughts and all of that can spiral down yourself, but also it can, if you're not focusing on the physical or your emotional or your energetic, then you can also spiral down through your mental state. If you've got lots going on, you can.
It's all interrelated.
So just bringing the tools into your life.
Totally, man. So that's like a big overview, realistically, of everything that we touch on and everything that we go to. Probably the biggest thing that brings the biggest impact, or the thing that people talk about the most, is the cold water therapy. We talk about it in the way in which using it and utilizing it to self-regulate, to regulate your nervous system, but then also building mental resilience, like the aspect of just doing something that's challenging, doing something maybe that you don't want to do, doing something that, and just building the resilience of sitting with something uncomfortable.
Choosing to do something a little challenging, a little icky in the first thing in the morning, if that's when you're going to do it. Yeah,
totally. And the beauty with it, we sort of build it out so that people can have like different spectrums or different scales that they can use and utilize it in. It's not about doing an ice bath every single morning for most people, because that's just jumping too much to an extreme. But it might just be about having a 30-second cold shower every single day, or having your warm and then switching it on to cold, and just making that choice to do something difficult. Plus, there's the like a plethora of health benefits when it comes to utilizing cold water therapy. Increases in dopamine, reduction in inflammation, like joint pain, muscle aches, things like that.
How do you think, just from your day to day, how do you think the mental state of the collective right now is versus how it could have been maybe 10 years ago? Do you think there's any shift in difference, or do you think it's just because we're a lived reality right now, we think it's a lot worse now, or is it getting worse or more chaotic is probably the better term?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surrounding myself with enough people at the moment to know exactly.
Yeah, but you just look at social media, you see what's going on,
What's my opinion on it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's getting worse. It's probably always the way in which it has been. I think more people are potentially just talking about it. So that can bring it further to the forefront, or we're just having a better understanding of it. I mean, stresses have always been there regardless of, and pressures, and they're always going to be relevant to the situation. The pressures and the thing, like my Oma had a far more stressful life than I ever will, because I haven't been through a world war. So there's no comparison there, but it's relative.
Yeah, and there's a lot more ability to have some more hyper awareness around facets. I'll tell you a trend that I'm seeing right now that kind of goes along with this is there's a lot of diagnosing or putting things together of ADHD. There's a lot of different trends now that are kind of online, it's just online programs, like kind of, these AI written programs that you can see that are starting to splurge out into the social media stratosphere. And I'm still yet to decide whether it's a very helpful thing or not a very helpful thing. Like going, oh, are you this, and this, and this, put yourself in this box. Oh, you have this, now you can, move through your crippling procrastination because of X, Y, and Z ADHD form, and there's more and more forms of ADHD that are spitting out that I'm seeing. So I'm definitely seeing like a trend in that right now. So I don't know. I mean, if you feel like the things resonate, and then there's something for you to shift and change your habits and your personality, shift your habits into feeling better, then I guess it's going to be a helpful thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's person dependent, realistically. For some people, diagnosis can be freedom. For some people, it can be a prison. And it really depends on the perspective and the way in which they pursue it. Someone that's maybe struggled with procrastination and anxiety might find the freedom in being like, oh, wait, at 40 years old, I have been diagnosed with ADHD. But then there is the potential to create a personality around it, and then to, still use that as a reason to not do things. But I suppose it's 100% person dependent. I don't think you can put that into like a collective of like, oh, there's like increased diagnosis is causing more problems than good.
Yeah, it just seems everything's getting niched on niched on niched on niched. But look, I think it's all good. It's all moving in the right direction. I think there's, especially with the younger generation, below us millennials, I think they're a lot more clued in with their emotional state and their mental state. I think their ability to communicate with how they're feeling and what they're actually thinking is a lot better than what we were when we were, kind of in those teenage years, mid-teenage years. There's a lot more online stuff, but I mean, we got it in person. like at least you kind of knew what you were dealing with because it was in front of you. But I definitely think that the younger generations are much better in tune with what's going on, and I think that's in the space to, because there is much more awareness around it. There's much more acceptance of individualization of expression of who you want to be, and acceptance of that. So I think it's all moving in the right direction. But
it's interesting though, because suicide rates, especially from women or girls, like 9 to 13, in the last 5 years have like increased by like 400%.
Skyrocketed,
yeah. So it's interesting. So it's like the more education's there, but then there's also like a different level of pressure because of phones and like different forms of bullying, I suppose.
It's a lot more. It would be a lot more fear-based, wouldn't it?
What do you mean by that?
Like worrying. What about
Oh yeah, like potential for things to go wrong.
Yeah. You're worrying.
Because the worst we had was text bombing.
That's right.
Your phone would just shut down.
Yeah.
You didn't have to worry about someone taking a video of you doing something stupid at a party because no one really had phones, or they did. They were fucking pixelated flip phones, and you couldn't really understand what was going on anyway.
And they were just 30, 15-second lots. And so I think they're, especially in that category of girls in that age group, character defamation would just be huge. Like you get a gaggle of girls together and they want to bring someone down online, or maybe there's a video that got released or a picture or something like that. You can definitely see how that would be that works so much more on your mental state of fear-based thinking, because you're like, God, what could happen? Where's that going? Oh my God, it's out in there. So many more people can see it and absorb it. Whereas for us, it was just like, as you're right, you got a bit of a text bomb, or happened out on the field, and then it was done there, and you moved on. It was, or like, you might get whispers of like, oh, someone wants to fight you at lunchtime. And that was like 3 hours away. You didn't have to sit at home and you didn't have to wait to see what was coming up. It was like, it happened, and if it didn't happen, it moved on. That was that. So that's kind of where I'm thinking about that more of that fear-based thing of it can spread like wildfire. So more and more people can have their voice and opinion and say. Yeah, totally. And so that's a lot worse than getting physically punched in the face, because it's done in there, I guess. Totally. Bruises go away. That can sort of. And I'm not advocating to go out and punch people in the faces. Do it. He is. He is. He said, "Bring back the biff." Bring back, Let's bring back the biff for mental health. Yeah, totally. And I think, I don't know. I think there's different. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I look forward to raising a kid in this world, because it'll be super interesting to just see the things that they have to navigate. See the things that they have to go through, or potentially not go through. Who knows? Like it'll be their own unique journey. Because who knows? Does it make you more resilient if you can, manage and navigate through them? Does it socially change your own behavior? Does it, because there's so many other sets of eyes? Are you more cautious? Does it limit you for being your full expression of self now? Then, because the potential judgment of groups of people. But then it's also easier to connect with groups of people who find you correct, right? Totally. And I suppose, that's probably one of the biggest things. You can find your tribe a lot easier, and everyone's looking for that. Everyone's looking for connection. When we had it, we only had the choice of the people that were at our school, realistically, right? Or the sports that you played. There wasn't this ability to find communities online and. I guess go deeper into your weirdness at an early age, because there's actual exposure to it. Yeah, you're less just the conditioning of your parents or caregivers upbringing. You're more like, oh, this is actually I'm kind of interested in that weird thing. Totally. Oh, there's other people there. Oh, great, let me go and hang out with them and be weirder. Yeah. Seen a man with a muzzle on the internet the other day. Blew my mind. I saw this one. I saw the I saw this one the other day. It said it was someone was filming it in Germany, and it was these two people, and they had human dogs. Like the humans were like actual dogs, just out in public, they're on leashes, they had their knee pads on and running around, but they were filming from afar, so it wasn't like a thing. They were just walking with their humans who were dogs. So interesting world, interesting, and it's like you can see. I don't know. Is it good? Because I'm reading a book at the moment, and it's by Paulo Coelho, the guy who wrote The Alchemist, and it's called Veronica Chooses to Die. And it's a story about a girl who attempted to commit suicide and then gets placed in an insane asylum, and then gets told that she only has a limited amount of time to live. And just thinks she's going to live it out in this insane asylum. And it's interesting because the thought that I just connected there, she said that there was freedom in knowing I could be as mad as I wanted without there being any repercussions. In the asylum. Yeah. But if you think about it, that's ultimately
the way in which we're moving at the moment. So it's like, although you may not be mad, because there's freedom to be mad, you can choose, or there might be a pressure for that to happen. So it's like throughout the book, she starts acting in ways in which she's never acted before, simply because there was the freedom to do it.
Interesting, like Lord of the Flies type thing.
Lord of the Flies, definitely. Yeah, totally. So it's like because maybe there's such thing as too much freedom to express.
Yeah.
Because it actually brings out aspects that aren't of you simply because you're mimicking the surrounding around you.
Cool, I get that. I went and watched Gladiator 2, not last night, the night before.
Nice.
One of my favourite movies, Gladiator, the original.
Yeah.
I was too young to go watch it in the cinemas when it came out in the year 2000, and I was like, I'm making sure I got to watch this. Absolutely brilliant. Like, it was everything I thought it would be and hoped it would be, and it was amazing. They brought the old story. It was brilliant. But what I really enjoyed watching about it was it's kind of at the time where the Roman Empire started to implode on itself, and Ridley Scott really did a really good cinematography of the chaoticness of Rome. And it was just like this. It was they had the twins, I forget their name, they came after Commodus, and so the story set 16 years later, which is obviously 16 years since the last movie came out, and you had the twins there. Anyways, I've forgotten their names, but just, you know, one of them's got syphilis. They're just constantly sitting around drinking wine and, you know, having these just abhorrent fucking play parties and things, and they just bring two gladiators into, like, you know, to the death, and they're sitting around just sipping, you know, like just absolute,
like it's nothing.
Just it's Sodom.
Yeah,
you
Sodom.
know,
Yeah, that's it.
It's Sodom, and they are just purely corrupt to the power that they do everything for their own self gratification. It's you know, to the. Doesn't matter about the people or whatever, you know, they'll put games on to distract them. But so where I'm going with this, it kind of runs in with what you're saying, is there was I really liked the reflection of how he created that, and to the reflection of where we are right now as well. And what he did well, which I noticed, was there's kind of the turning inward of itself on gender as well. Yeah. You know, the men were very feminine, and they were just white. They wore white things like makeup on their face, and
so like the loss of polarity, right?
Yeah. And it was really, he did it really, really well. I was really impressed with it. It was subtle, but there was just, you know, even the guy in the arena, in the Colosseum, where he was announcing the next things come, like every single shot, he just had a glass full of wine and he was just drunk, you know, but he had, like, he looked like, you know, very, very you know, feminine-esque. And the two emperors, you know, were these brothers, twins, and they looked sickly and syphilisy, and but they were, it was horrible. But but you're totally right. It gets to a point where I guess even like this you know, American celebrity and things like that, they get to this point where it, you know, this is absolute freedom, and no one's going to cast down upon you, or there's absolute lack of judgment because everybody else is doing the same thing. So going down those paths of Sodom, you know, like that's the human free will to continue to go down the path of
where things keep getting more and more extreme,
horrid, of extremity.
Sure. It's
like people are addicted to porn. You know, you start at really nice, soft, and, you know, if you talk to people who have been dipped in, they're just down in some nasty things because they're going to keep getting to that.
It needs to be more extreme.
More extreme.
Interesting, huh?
And so,
and then I mean, there's the ability for actually people to hold that and like the capacity of that, or understand it, because it's like, yes, it's happening on that grand scale, and like where you can see a whole empire fall based upon it. You know, now you can just start to see aspects of it falling away, but then also things fighting back. You know, you have a look at the American presidency and the way in which they're not allowing it to fall into disarray, because it's very, very close to Interesting. So what's something, I don't know, I'm unsure, I haven't fact checked this yet, but it's like looking at that extremities. Apparently there's a high school in New Zealand where the principal had to leave because of like stress-induced shingles and him having like panic attacks and things like that. Because the girls at the school put together a petition to have, some of the girls at the school put together a petition to have kitty litters in the female bathrooms. And the principal said no, so they just started to shit in the sink because they identified as cats. It's fucking crazy, you know. And if that's the reflection of the mental state, and it's like that's the reflection of where things are going in schools in New Zealand, it's like fuck, things are going a little bit too far because there's like a difference between expression and absolutely ludicrous behaviour. Because it's like there's nothing. And like that shouldn't be allowed because it's not sane. You know, there's no sanity in that action.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Regardless of the way in which you identify to make requests in that nature, impact other people. You know.
Yeah, that's pretty out the gate, man.
Pretty out the gate, man.
And again, kids will, and I'll say kids will try and push the boundaries.
Totally.
And if you let them, they will continue to keep pushing it.
For sure.
And so, adult leaders, principals, teachers, adults, parents, caregivers, in that sound, that's where you set foundational boundaries.
Yeah, totally.
And just go, hey, look.
If he said a strong no, like, he'd be chastised. Like, how dare you not allow my child to
be
identify as a cat?
And shit in a kitty litter box.
You fucking bigot.
Then maybe they don't get to go to hospitals anymore. They can only go to a vet.
Well, cats can't come to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no pets allowed.
You know?
Yeah, but I suppose that's when you got to start to play back at it and be like, look at the ridiculous nature of this. And it's like, it's hard because, you know, some mothers play into it because they want their kids to be strange, because then it gives them an identity as well. You know, the mother with a cat child. But anyway, we digress.
So mental state.
Mental state. This is the state of it all, Michael.
It's fun. I love where this is taking us. But I think ultimately where it comes down to is just what's your foundational level of equilibrium. You know, where do you feel most sane and normal for yourself, and just keep trying to bring the crosshairs back to that.
What's your baseline?
Yeah. Like yesterday, man, like you and I took a day off just to drink. Man, I spent from 10 o'clock yesterday till 9 o'clock last night. I was chucking shit out, went through my wardrobe, cleaned everything, like just rearranged everything, like all of it, put plants outside. Like it was a really productive day.
Beautiful.
Of grounding in my mental state, just keeping my external environment out of disarray.
Cool. Perfect.
Because we can just focus on the one thing and things can get out of check. And it's like, no, you gotta
constantly check in.
You gotta constantly check in.
I spent fucking 5 hours at the beach smoking weed and swimming in the water.
Beautiful.
It was delicious.
It was amazing.
Delicious.
Yeah, that's it. So everyone's process is different.
Totally.
And it's always going to change as well. Because some days for me, sitting at the beach smoking weed for 5 hours, that's a beautiful day.
It's all relevant. And I think the biggest thing that we actually try to teach people is, as you say, like understanding your equilibrium, honouring what is needed in the moment, allowing yourself to and giving yourself the time to focus on self-regulation.
Yes.
Probably the biggest things.
And take it easy on yourself.
Be easy on yourself.
Take it easy on yourself. We are our own harshest critics. There's nobody who's going to be a bigger critic of yourself than yourself. No one.
Maybe your father.
I don't even think then, man.
No, I'm just kidding. So be easy on yourself, people.
Especially this time of year. Families coming around,
Totally.
The little
more
things.
Financial stresses, more pressures.
Yeah, don't go out of your way to just spend money just to give people gifts. If you don't have the money, give them your time.
Yeah, totally.
Give them a card. Handwrite a poem. Like
your presence is the presence.
Correct. It was even, my little brother Riley, he's 18. We were having a chat the other day, actually, and he was saying, oh man, like, because he's just shifted to another agency where he's like, oh, I don't have a lot of money to buy gifts for people and this and that. I'm like, man, don't worry about that. Like, it's all good. Everyone sees that you're 18. You're trying to like make something to yourself. Brother, just show up. It's all good. You know, get involved in the conversation. You have to buy gifts for everyone. It doesn't equate that you're going, you know, I feel like you love me more because you're giving me something.
Especially work colleagues. Buy me a gift. Come on.
So don't put nooses around your neck for the sake of thinking others are gonna think you love them more. Just give them more love. It doesn't have to be in the form of something.
Totally.
And that can drastically minimize, well, you know, it could scale your mental health state.
Well, I mean,
upwards,
Santa was created by Coca-Cola, so we'll leave it at that. One of the
red jolly man in the suit.
One of the greatest marketing ploys ever. And even before the creation of Santa, it's like people used to celebrate Easter more than they celebrated Christmas. Even before that, the Jewish didn't even really celebrate Hanukkah. I saw this cool thing. I want to go to Finland, man. They do a Krampus. A Krampus?
A Krampus.
Will they eat crumpets?
No, Krampus.
Ah, Krampus. So like actual Christmas. Like for the
So he goes around and he, you know, takes children, beats them with reeds and sacks if they're bad, you know. Like,
there you go.
And he's this cool guy with big horns, you know. And they like celebrate him in the street. Do a big thing. So I want to get some different culture things there, but yeah, mental health, you know, if you need any help, just reach out. There's, you know, Rebirth, we talk about all the time. It helps kind of remove that emotional edge, so it gives you like clarity to think and choose better for yourself and whatever you want. So there's always things around. We're growing that, so, you know, especially this time of year, if you need something, just reach out to us.
That's what we're here for, baby.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We'll leave it at that.
Thank y'all.
We'll see you guys next week for emotional
well-being.
So have a beautiful week.
See you later, everybody.
Shoo.